At its heart, Neil Gaiman's Anansi Boys is a story about family, about magic, and about gods. But really, it's about two brothers. Two brothers who are worlds apart, trying to get out from under the very long, very embarrassing shadow of their father. And, in the end, trying to find a song that's all their own. It begins, as most things do, with a song. You know, in the beginning, there were the words, and the words had a tune. And that's pretty much how the world got made. And that's right where Gaiman drops us in, hinting that this ordinary world we think we know, well, it's just one version of reality. But our story doesn't start in some big mythic place. Nope, it starts with Charles Nancy, a man living a perfectly ordinary, kind of gray life in London. And his whole life is defined not by a song, but by a nickname he absolutely positively despises. I mean, he was only a little chubby for a few years when he was a kid, but the name, that was a gift from his estranged father, and it was permanent. See, when his dad gave something a name, it just stuck. It was the very first and most annoying piece of magic in Charlie's otherwise very unmagical life. To really get Charlie, you have to understand this. His father was just mortifying, deeply, profoundly embarrassing. He was the kind of guy who'd burst into song for no reason, do a little dance for strangers on the beach, basically turn any quiet moment into a giant spectacle. For Charlie, his entire childhood was just one long cringe. And yet, right alongside all that embarrassment, there was this little spark of pure wonder. His dad might have been a man of loud jokes and public scenes, but he was also the man who promised there were mermaids just past the laves, hinting at this whole other world Charlie could never quite see. So that world of mermaids and magic feels about 1,000,000 miles away when the news finally comes. Charlie's father, Mr. Nancy, is dead. And of course, he died exactly as he lived, embarrassingly, on a karaoke stage in Florida, right in the middle of a song. And that one event, well, that's the pebble that starts the avalanche. Now, this is something Charlie has known for his entire life. It's a fact. It's as solid and real as his name, his job, his London flat. He is and has always been an only child. Period. But then, at the funeral, an old woman completely shatters that reality. Turns out, his father had another son, a brother, a twin brother that Charlie never ever knew existed. Oh, and the way to meet him? Just talk to a spider. Simple, right? And when this brother, Spider, actually shows up, he is everything Charlie is not. I mean, where Charlie is anxious and orderly, Spider is just pure chaos and confidence. Charlie's life is so mundane, but Spider's is woven with magic. They're really two sides of the same coin. One is completely ashamed of their family, and the other is absolutely shameless. So when Spider walks into Charlie's carefully organized, predictable little world, he doesn't just disrupt it, he completely detonates it. It happens so fast. Spider just effortlessly charms Charlie's fiancée, Rosie. He gets Charlie fired from his accounting job with a single, ridiculous prank. He literally, and I mean literally, turns a boring spare room into a tropical paradise with a waterfall. Within days, every single pillar holding up Charlie's safe little life is just gone. So yeah, Charlie hits rock bottom and he gets desperate. All he wants is for his brother to disappear. And in trying to solve this very human, very normal problem, he accidentally stumbles headfirst into the ancient mythological world his father actually came from. And this, right here, is the big family secret. Their dad wasn't just some embarrassing old guy from Florida. He was Anansi, the West African trickster god, the spider god of stories, which means Charlie and Spider, well, they're not quite human. They're the sons of a god. Of course, Charlie doesn't know any of this. He just wants his brother gone. So he goes looking for help from these strange old gods in Florida, and he ends up making a deal in this weird, dreamlike place with this terrifying creature, the Bird Woman, who it turns out has a very, very old grudge against Anansi. And the price of this deal is just awful. To get rid of Spider, Charlie offers up Anansi's bloodline. He has no idea he just put his own neck on the chopping block right next to his brother's. He's basically invited a predator into their lives that wants to devour them both. Now, this massive, ancient threat, it forces them together. To have any chance of surviving, they have to stop fighting each other. They have to finally face their shared legacy and figure out what it even means to be Anansi's boys. But what they find out pretty quick is that this old world, This world of animal gods and ancient rules doesn't really have a place for them. Spider's too human for it, too modern. And Charlie? Well, Charlie's just Charlie. They realize they can't just inherit their father's power. They've got to find their own way. And in this struggle, they start to change. They start to grow. Spider, who's only ever looked out for himself, starts to learn about consequences, about actually caring for someone else. And our quiet, anxious, fat Charlie, he starts to find this incredible strength he never knew he had. He discovers his own kind of magic. He finds his voice. In the end, at the climax of the story, Charlie finally steps up and embraces who he is, but completely on his own terms. He doesn't become a trickster like his dad or his brother. Instead, he uses the one power they all share, the power of story, the power of a song, to reshape reality and make things right. So this kind of brings us to some things to think about for our discussion. The book really makes you ask, right, how much of who we are is just given to us, like Charlie's awful nickname, and how much do we actually get to create for ourselves? And what are the stories from our own lives, from our families that have shaped who we've become? In the end, I think what Gaiman leaves us with is this really beautiful idea that stories are like webs. Every person is a single strand, and every single strand connects to another. And we follow them to the center, because the center of the web is the end of the story, but it's also where a new one can begin.